This is Kathy Chase. As I said, presidents could not say they wanted to conspire with me over a job that I wasn't even having conflict about. They couldn't conspire assassinating me. As they said, I was supposed to be a mutual politician. That's one. They couldn't conspire against me to say that they wanted to conspire against the United States of America, the system of the United States, the federal government in itself, to make monies for themselves in mafia form, to conspire against the intent and the integrity of the federal government. Meaning, they're trying to say that the federal government helped set me up to sabotage the country so that the presidents and civilians could make monies for themselves over a job I wasn't even worried about. I was worried about the security of the country because that was more important. And that's, as I said, contrary to the job in itself, in which they were arguing with. As I said, they just got done playing the 7-year game to prove that they couldn't do the job that they were wanting to argue about. And then they said they were going to use mafia force to corner me and kill me when they were done, because they said that the federal government wanted to set me up against their own values, ethics, their codes of conduct, over a job that is, as I said, contradictory to what they just did? No. That's ridiculous. They're saying that there's mafia involvement within the federal government that wanted to set me up over a career, in which they couldn't do to begin with. They couldn't say that I'm supposed to be a mutual politician because they can't change that story now. There's no way that the federal government would conspire against its own fundamentals to make any amounts of money in mafia form to dishonor this country. What's happened here this past 7 years is the most extremely anti-patriotic sabotages, to me, that's ever happened in history. This is the most anti-patriotic sabotages to the federal government and U.S. history, separately and together. This is so anti-patriotic. The sabotages are so serious. There is no way for a president's ego, for the ego of the civilians involved, there is no way. There is no way that you're going to tell me the federal government wants to murder me over me having good intent towards this country versus you wanting to set up the country and use mafia force to impede and obstruct my constitutional rights to help the federal government. You use mafia force. That is super anti-patriotic. You use gangbanging to stir up racketeering, to make a racket off of obstructing federal government. They should have tried to keep this situation as quiet as possible. For one, they did not. For two, they think they're going to corner me and murder me and first-degree murder for their malicious intent under the federal government. As I said, this is to undermine the job in itself. They said they wanted to undermine the position of president in itself to make monies for themselves by mafia force to undermine the federal government. They undermine their own positions. They undermine the federal government, and they disrespected my life, which didn't need to be done. They dishonored my life in forms and ways and my children that never needed to be done. They sabotaged my life, my children. They've tortured my children. They said they've tortured me and my children to sabotage this country. No. They told people they wanted to undermine their own positions as presidents to sabotage their own position to make monies for themselves. They wanted to sabotage the federal government to make monies for themselves. No. As I said, they have undermined their own positions. Purposely. And wanted to say they wanted to make me and my children a scapegoat for that? You are nuts. There is no way that you're going to get me to believe that there's mafia within the federal government that is the government's so corrupt that they wanted to dishonor this country with my life in this way. That they would sabotage me and sabotage themselves over any amounts of monies. The monies that have been made this past 7 years are extremely dirty monies, as I said. They are it's basically like putting the Hitler stamp, defacing American money, and such forms that such abuses to American money, and the whole values to the federal government and what it stands for. The Constitution, they defaced the Constitution. They wanted to deface the Constitution to sabotage themselves? No. They wanted to deface the laws of the United States to sabotage itself, used by mafia force? No. Definition of patriotism, you don't set up this country. You don't set up the United States of America for any dollar amount. That's number one. You don't set up another American with their children for any dollar amount. You don't put yourself before country, and when you put yourself before country, you had defaced your own positions. You had undermined your own positions. That's a fact. When I look at the damages, that they planned and plotted with my life, because they planned and plotted this whole 7 years, using, as I said, the 7-year war, for sure. A controlled burn, as you could say. And why would they be so anti-patriotic? Why would they do that? As I said, there is no dollar amount that you could put on doing this. This is the worst thing that anybody's ever done to the country of the United States of America, based upon what I see and the damages thereof. The lack of patriotism on their account, they don't have any. They're not patriots. They're not Americans. To do this? For no reason. There was no reason for it. None. They can't say they did it for the money, because that money is so dirty and so tarnished and in vain for the country of the United States. That money is in vain for the country of the United States. To dishonor the country of the United States. That is what that money is about. The monies made are so dirty. As I said, they wanted to manipulate trying to pay me off. They wanted to try to say that they were going to pay me off because they owed me monies before my exposure. Meaning they owed me tort monies, as I said, and they owed me some monies from technologies before my exposure. See, they wanted to blackbird me, so they didn't want to have to pay me anything, and then they wanted to make me broke, and then they wanted to entrap me in to sabotage me with the country and sabotage the country, just as I had said. This is what I just said. What I just said in this recording is exactly how things are.